Hi party peoples, I'm Heather from booktubes, and today is the beginning of my Love in the Night paranormal romance readathon reading vlog. I am actually in the middle of watching yet another The Life of a Showgirl reaction. I am so in love with this album. I don't want to hear anybody's negative opinions. I don't care. I'm having the most wonderful, immaculate time. I am vibing in my house all day. I'm dancing to every single song. I'm having the time of my life and I don't care about you all. But I'm actually about to get on sprints with Robin and I think Izzy, and staying true to form, I have not read a single page before getting on sprints, even though I actually wanted to start early. I wanted to start yesterday. Haven't read a single page. Haven't read a single page since The Life of a Showgirl came out, but today we're going to start reading again. And I'm just so excited to read a bunch of paranormal romance, as I always am. Of course, I have a massive TBR. I have like 19 books on my TBR. We'll see what I get to. I'm really hoping to actually fall into a series again, like I had the last two rounds. I would love to randomly read a series. So I'm really hoping that that ends up happening. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm either going to start with A Honeymoon of Grave Consequence by Steph Burgess. I'm so excited for this one. It's not too long. It's the sequel to A Marriage of Undead Inconvenience, which I absolutely adored, and I am so excited. It's fun, it's quirky, it's witty, it's gonna be sweet and cute, and I just cannot wait to read that one. And then I'm also very excited for one that I've never read the author before, so I'm hoping it's not a DNF, but it's Saved by the Prisoner. It's also like 100 pages, and obviously it's a trope I'm really into for alien romance and sci-fi romances. One of the books that I'm actually the most excited about is The Crownless King by Drea Anderson, and it comes out on Friday, and I just think it was so sweet and thoughtful of Drea to release this book specifically during Love in the Night for me personally. I know she did this for me, even though she had no idea. I've been waiting for this book for 2 years, no joke. So I'm so hyped. I will be reading that on Friday. Absolutely no question in my mind. So those are my priorities, number ones. But I want to read every single book that's on my TBR. I really do. Like, I want to read so bad. And I'm so excited about Love of the Night. My goal is to not really scroll this week. I want to be listening to The Life of a Showgirl, being productive. I have videos to edit and reading books, and that's what I want to do. So truly, like, what a great week. This is the last week of my kids' football season, so I'm done on Saturday. That's the final hurrah. So I'm very excited about that. And yeah, I can't wait to hop on with Robin, and again, hopefully Izzy, get to chat, get to read. I am having such a great time with The Life of a Showgirl. I'm gonna read paranormal romance. It's gonna be a good week. It's gonna be the best week in a while. I am so serious when I say, why did I just read the word my behoovel, like my betrothed? Behoovel, like hooves, like hooves. Ew. Oh my god. No, I hate feet so much. And she says, as a radiant female, I was faster in my bare feet anyway. Our anatomy was not made for shoes, but we shoved our long, section-tipped toes into heels. Ew! So, I just found out that they're not going to be able to come and do the washer today, so they have to reschedule for Monday, and I am about to lose my mind. I just need my washer to work. I don't think this is too much to ask for, and I am upset about it. So know that. And last night I finished Saved by the Prisoner, and I'm also upset about that because it was not good. It would have been a 3 if it wasn't for the toes and the behoovel and the 4 breasts. And then the apartheid, where part humans don't have any rights and don't have citizenship because they're part human. And also, she just didn't know. She just didn't know that the system wasn't fair. She just didn't know. And so yeah, I'm just annoyed. In my Christmas pajamas. I've just finished A Honeymoon of Grave Consequence. It was cute and witty and sweet, just like the first one. If I don't talk more about it tomorrow, somebody remind me.
probably another day.
Okay, so it is day three of the readathon. And so let's talk about what I've already read and what I'm currently reading, and then what my plans are. The Honeymoon of Grave Consequence. In the first book, she's forced into a marriage of convenience with a vampire. They have a very antagonistic meeting and relationship at the beginning, and then he grows to be obsessed with her and worship the ground that she walks on. She's a scholar. She's very antisocial, and this is like a historical, so also the fact that she's a woman scholar is, you know, an issue. So I didn't love A Honeymoon of Grave Consequence quite as much as Marriage of Undead Inconvenience, but I did really enjoy it. Fully plan on picking up number 3 when it comes out. And now I am in the middle of Choosing Theo. I don't even know how far into I am. This is the type of classic set where she has to pick a husband in order to stay on their planet. She's been taken from Earth, which is against intergalactic law because they don't know about extraterrestrials. I'm halfway through the book. And he is, you know, the most gorgeous man you've ever seen, but is considered unattractive in their society. He is a really well-accomplished mercenary and thinks that she's a spy, and about this point he's kind of like, that might not be true, and if that's not true, then I've treated her really badly. But also, like, she only has to stay in this marriage for 3 months, and then she only has to stay on the planet for a year, and I know that's not gonna work for me. I'm gonna need a lifetime commitment. So I'm really into it. He's just tough and scary enough while being like incredibly sweet. And so I like what's happening in this book. Then I need to get to The Tenant, which is the group book, because the live show for that is Friday. And like I said, on Friday, I want to get to The Crownless King. I'd really like to get to at least one more in between that. And then on Saturday, I'm gonna be doing football basically all day, probably, in the concession stand and stuff. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm so annoyed with this football program. But I love my children, so I'm just going to ignore all the things. Anyway, so I plan on very little to no reading on Saturday. And then Sunday, I've got football and a children's birthday party and all sorts of stuff on that day too. So I also plan on very little reading done on Sunday. So for the readathon, I feel like my best reading is only through Friday. But I, as of right now, do plan to try and squeeze something in Saturday and Sunday. But the point is, I would really love to get another book in between The Tenant and The Crownless King. So I'd like to finish Choosing Theo. I would love to actually be productive and accomplish something. That would be great. My life would appreciate it if I did that. But I am happy with my book so far. I finished Choosing Theo. I'm giving it 4 stars. They don't have enough females being born, and they are in dire need of women and repopulation, just like a lot of these alien societies. But I really liked it. They were fade mates. He was possessive and sweet all at the same time, so very enjoyable. I do not yet have a 5-star for the month, so I'm really looking for that 5-star read. But that was a fun one, and I plan on continuing the series at some point. And next will be The Tenant by Katrina Jackson, the group book.
Okay, so this is my mom's video. This is our mirror, and so as you see, we decorated for Halloween. We have a spooky haunted house, and we have bats. We have Happy Halloween up there and a witch with a bat.
Very nice.
And
just got back from the final football practice of the season, at least regular football practice. And I finished The Tenant by Katrina Jackson. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I think that it worked really, really well as a historical account and kind of the very realistic story and circumstances of Black people in the South on plantations, being freed, but still not being, treated with equal rights or pay or anything like that. I think that all of it was really well done and interesting. I think that the book itself was a little bit slow, and I think that the steamy ghost romance, I think it was an interesting concept, but I'm not really sure how well or how much I enjoyed the two being meshed together. Like, I think I liked the historical part more than the rest, but I wouldn't necessarily have picked up a historical book like that, right? I don't read historic fiction that's not a romance. So, interesting, but ultimately not my favorite. Kind of only read it because it was the group book. Might have DNF'd it if I didn't already really like this author and had, intentions on finishing it. But the historical part was done really, really well, and it's the type of thing that then is like, yeah, this is why it annoys me when I read something that is supernatural and stuff, but is completely ignoring the history of slavery in America and it is like dancing around it like it doesn't exist, when very clearly it should be existing in what you're talking about. You're not talking about an alternate history or anything like that. You're just ignoring it, and that frustrates me, because you can choose where you set your book, what time period, what world building. You can choose all that. If you choose to have that and then don't ever address it, that to me is very frustrating. And this was a clear example of how you can do that so correctly. Katrina Jackson, if you don't know, is a professor and is a historian and just someone who is really, really well qualified to speak on this and write about this. And I thought, obviously, that she did an excellent job of that. I just don't know how well it worked as a ghost romance. It's all. Well, Love in the Night is over. I basically did not read the final 3.5 days. I attempted to read. I went so far as to mark things as currently reading on Goodreads without ever actually opening them up on my Kindle. So that was the problem. I really wanted to read The Crownless King by Julia Anderson, but I didn't. It would have been nice to have gotten Archangel's Kiss done before the live, but I didn't. I did end up reading Mummy, Sorry, by whoever that person is. I gave it 1 star. It was terrible. It was like erotica novella, and Anubis, the god of death. She's a school teacher. She was supposed to do a field trip overnight with her students at the museum, and then ended up getting canceled, but she shows up anyways and is able to look at the exhibit for a minute. In that time, manages to desecrate a mummy, and the god of death is like, you have to atone, and she's like really into BDSM and into punishment and stuff, so he whips her and everything, and that's great. And then she has to restore life to the mummy by using her mouth on the mummy as it's still shriveled up and dead. And then as her mouth goes over each body part, she becomes, live, firm flesh. And some of the descriptions of the mummified clit, for instance, were horrific. I was in a horror movie, not where I wanted to be. So she has a sex scene with just Anubis with the punishment, and then she has a sex scene with the female mummy, so it's FFM, the mummy, and Anubis, and then she goes back to her regularly scheduled programming as the school teacher. Yeah, I hated it. I did not like it. Honestly, the only reason why I finished it and gave it 1 star is because I would rather talk about it now than have to talk about it in my DNF wrap up in 3 months. And that's really the only motivating factor I had. So yeah, it was bad. It's definitely my worst round of Love in the Night, I think, when it comes to ratings, when it comes to numbers. It was just a little bit fine, a little bit mediocre, a little bit eh, and that's sad for me, but that's okay. I currently have the very exciting news to look forward to that we are getting an Era's docu-series, which is everything I hoped and dreamed for, and the torture post department section of the Era series, so I'm very excited. It took me a while to jump on board the exit sign theory because at first I was like, no, and then there were some that was like, this is not accidental, actually, this has to be intentional. Then I was like, okay, something. So I did eventually jump on that theory. However, I've always been a Eras Tour documentary truther. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah. I am once again currently waiting on the guy to come for my washer. So I've been waiting for like 6 hours now. And I've got 5 to go unless they text me that they're on their way. So that's fun. Love that for me. And yeah, everything kind of sucks. So Love in the Night did not fix everything in my stupid life, but I continue to listen to The Life of a Showgirl, and that is definitely helping raise my mood. So there's that. I'm supposed to be starting another vlog. We'll see, party peoples. I'm kind of unenthused. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.